Welcome to the session, children. I hope you all are well. Follow all the precautionary measures and take care of yourself. Be hygienic, stay at home and stay safe. Let us start today's session, children. So today I am going to explain to you all a new topic. Let us see what is that. Today we are going to start a new topic which is one of the most important life process. So before getting into the topic, children, let us once again recall what is meant by nutrition. So nutrition, it is the process which helps to transfer a source of energy from outside the body of the organism to the inside. This is called nutrition. So suppose you might have your breakfast or lunch or dinner. So this is the source of energy what we are transferring into our body. That is called as nutrition. So the source of energy is nothing but food. So is it enough if we just transfer this source of energy to get into our body? Is the question clear, children? Is it enough if we just transfer a source of energy into our body? No, not at all. It should be oxidized. So do you all know what is meant by oxidized? Oxidized is nothing but it is a process in which something should be burnt in presence of oxygen. So the food what we are taking into our body as a source of energy should be burnt in the presence of oxygen. That is called oxidization. So to get energy to do all our activities, we need the food to be oxidized. So what is that process helping in this oxidation? Any idea, children? Do you know what is that process helping in oxidation? This which is helping in oxidizing the food what we are taking into our body is nothing but respiration. So we are going to study about respiration. So respiration, before getting into the topic, it is very important to know its chemical equation. So let us see what is the chemical equation of the respiration. C6H12O6. What is this, children? It is glucose. So the glucose in our body, when it oxidizes in the presence of oxygen, the reaction between glucose and oxygen gives rise to 6CO2, 6H2O and 38 molecules of ATP. Now what is this ATP? Let us see about this in further classes. So before getting into the further topic of what is respiration and all, let us see what is this equation once again. Chemical equation of respiration is C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives rise to 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus 38 molecules of ATP. Is this clear, children? Now, respiration is of two types, anaerobic and aerobic. Any idea about this? Anaerobic is a process of respiration which takes place in absence of oxygen. Aerobic is a process of respiration which takes place in presence of oxygen. Actually, for the process of respiration, source of energy is oxygen. Oxygen is very important for respiration process. As we all know, we will die if there is no oxygen. So without oxygen, respiration is not possible. But there are organisms in which respiration takes place in absence of oxygen. That is nothing but anaerobic respiration. So respiration in absence of oxygen is anaerobic. Respiration in presence of oxygen is aerobic. So this respiration of anaerobic process and aerobic process takes place in different pathways. So now we are aerobic, no doubt in that, because our respiration takes place in presence of oxygen. But do you know that even in our body, sometimes respiration takes place in absence of oxygen, children? Yes, it is. So there are different pathways. So let us now know about breakdown of glucose in various pathways. The different pathways in which glucose will be oxidized and energy produced. Let us see this now. So glucose oxidizes in three different pathways. One is in absence of oxygen, the other one lack of oxygen, the third one is in the presence of oxygen. So let us study all these in detail. So whether in the presence of oxygen or in the absence of oxygen, whatever it is, this process of oxidizing glucose takes place in our cell. So the process is known as cellular respiration. So which part of the cell helps in cellular respiration, children? It is nothing but mitochondria. So mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell in which cellular respiration will take place. So now let us come back here. So glucose, what is present in our cell, that is in our cytoplasm, first it will be converted into pyruvate. Pyruvate is a 3-carbon molecule. So even for this process also we require energy. So now this pyruvate formation is common in all anaerobic process and even aerobic process. So now pyruvate. Then further process of breaking down of pyruvate to produce energy in absence of oxygen. So this process in absence of oxygen is called anaerobic respiration. In this process, ethanol, the formula of ethanol is C2H5OH. How many molecules of carbon are there in ethanol here? It is 2 molecules of carbon. So when the pyruvate is getting oxidized in the cytoplasm in absence of oxygen, ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy is produced. So this process takes place in absence of oxygen in the organisms like yeast. So this process of anaerobic respiration in yeast is called fermentation. Is this process clear now? Now next coming to the second one. Lack of oxygen. Try to understand the difference between absence of oxygen and lack of oxygen. Here oxygen is completely absent. Here it is reduced in less amount. Sometimes when we are in strenuous exercise, continuous exercise, or suppose when we are in playground, after completing our PT period, coming back to the class, or if not after like joining in the assembly, we feel that we are overtired, headache, muscle cramps and all. So all this is because of lack of oxygen in our body. So this process of respiration which is taking place in our body in insufficient amount of oxygen, that is lack of oxygen, produces lactic acid and energy. So here lactic acid formula is C3H6O3. So how many molecules of carbon are there in lactic acid here? 3 molecules. So this whole process takes place in our muscles. So when oxygen supply is less to our muscles, lactic acid is produced and with less amount of energy, which results in muscle cramps, headache and other kind of problems, and we feel that we are overtired. So next coming to the third process, third pathway involved in cellular respiration, it is in presence of oxygen. No doubt in all the mammals, even in our body. So in presence of oxygen, so this process is called aerobic respiration. In this respiration process, CO2 plus water and energy are produced. So how many pathways we have in the cellular respiration?
3.
1, 2, 3. 3 different pathways are present. One in absence of oxygen, second one in lack of oxygen, and third one in presence of oxygen. So this is a flow chart what you have to represent when you are asked to show different pathways in the oxidation of glucose, or if not, to explain about cellular respiration. So here this respiration is of two types, anaerobic and aerobic. So anaerobic in absence of oxygen, aerobic in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic process takes place only in the cytoplasm, because unicellular organisms like yeast, they will not have any kind of cell organelles like mitochondria. Whereas aerobic process takes place in cytoplasm and mitochondria. Now, what is the common thing you observed in all these three pathways, children? What is the common thing you observed in all these three pathways?
Oxygen.
It is nothing but production of energy. So oxidation, either in absence of oxygen or presence of oxygen or lack of oxygen, energy is produced, what is very important for our life process to continue. So without this energy, we cannot continue our activities. So the energy is released during the process called cellular respiration. And that cellular respiration is used to synthesize a molecule called ATP. So what is produced during cellular respiration? Energy is produced in the form of ATP. So what is this ATP, and what is the further process of respiration in our body, and how respiration takes place in different organisms? All these we are going to study in the next class. For today, so in today's class, I introduced the topic respiration, which is very important life process. In this topic, we discussed about anaerobic respiration, aerobic respiration, and the different pathways in which the glucose is oxidized into energy. That is in absence of oxygen, in lack of oxygen, and in presence of oxygen. So today's homework, I am going to give you two questions. Please note down the two questions, children. The first one is, what are the differences between anaerobic respiration and aerobic respiration? I repeat it again. What are the differences between anaerobic respiration and aerobic respiration? Already 2 points I covered while explaining the lesson. One is that anaerobic respiration takes place in absence of oxygen. Aerobic respiration takes place in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration takes place in cytoplasm, and aerobic respiration takes place in mitochondria. So collect some more information to the question what I gave you.